today. So it is Wednesday, the 15th of November, 23. It's just prior to the open on the ES Z3. We had a report this morning, CPI, and I forget the other one at 7:30. So you see a big reaction there. The overnight had been kind of drifting up till that report. Oh, there we are. And if I can get this screen switching down better, should be on the IRT at this moment, which is we had a session of gaps, gap up, without closing, and again yesterday without closing. The important thing is, to me, over this micro composite, we gapped across the gap. So yeah, it's pretty strange. Pretty strange price action, I would say. This is the overnight ES and Q. We're looking to open higher, but in range. You can see that our previous RTH high is there, and we're below that. So it's been just bobbling back and forth around higher in range or higher out of range. And what that signifies are these levels, which I can show you here quickly. These are the these are the statistics for opening type. This is higher out of range, higher in range, lower in range, lower out of range. So today we are in this. We would expect an 82.9% chance that the overnight POC would be taken out or hit. That would be kind of hidden up here, actually. That's 82.9. The overnight POC and the overnight mid are stacked on top of each other at the moment. So that makes it a little harder. Now, the overnight POC is going to migrate down here pretty quick. So we'll be able to pull this down to meet that. That didn't work like I had it planned. So that will migrate, and this will be the overnight mid. Oh, that's loud. Okay, so I'm hopeful now that we're on the IRT chart and going back to the book map chart now for the open. And here we go. I would expect profit taking, so perhaps some responsive selling here at the open. We'll see what happens. There's that migration I was expecting. The IRT. Oh, that. Wait. There we go. All right, so the open in a couple seconds here. We have our brackets set up, our multi-bracket for the risk neutral trade. Risk neutral again is a trade at 2-lot, 3-point stop for both, a 3-point target for the first. And there we have it. We're open. We have a VPOC migration up. That's to be expected. And as the closer we are to the open, the more sensitive the VPOC movements are. So we have mid, VPOC, and VWAP all stacked on top of each other, which is normal. The market has just opened. And I don't see that responsive selling. However, we do have a situation where we were trending up all night, and then at the report, we did break back to into range. So that might have negated some of that responsive profit taking or responsive selling because that happened in through here after 7:30. I'm hoping that I'm keeping these screens properly synced. Real quiet. Kind of surprising, actually. So our first target, in my opinion, would be the 82. But they're trading away from it. We're picking up the mid. Then we would have yesterday's value area high, and we have the overnight high lurking above here. So overnight high is way up here on that report. So they continue to trade up. Looks of things. We've had the migration. It could be the opening swing. However, I would be a little hesitant to short this morning after this price action. Looks to me like if this, then that. If not, then what, right? So if this, we didn't have continue lower, then that. There we go. We've got VWAP, VPOC, and mid all piled on top of each other. And this is the session volume for the RTH. This is the full session volume. Started at 1700 last night. And this is what you see on the screen. So it looks like they're heading for the highs, that overnight high. Got some liquidity here at 30. My preference is to short, which is a hindrance. I have to continually keep that in mind and check myself that I'm not always looking for a short. We've had trending days now forever. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and now 11 days in a row we've been trending up. So see down here in the micro composite, we have, well, basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and here we are today. So the IB high and the IB low record the first hour high and first hour low. We have a stat in the Traders Lab, which is IB 30, that says that in the first 30 minutes of trade, I'm sorry, in the second 30 minutes, we generally put in a new high or low. Now this could have been a short, but it's so tight. The entry has to be perfect to get your scale ahead of these obstacles, which is only 3 points. And so that's not wide enough, in my opinion. The target would be down here at the overnight POC or IOR or overnight low, but this is not, and it'll work out. It's working out, but I'm not that good at the entry. However, we did have a series of buyers up. 180 stops went out. Couldn't get any more buyers. There was 3 stops went out, and then we got some sellers. So that would have been the trigger. And then our target would have been, we would have had to scale out ahead of the VWAP or mid, and then of course POC. Typical retail behavior is that we have buying off the POC, VWAP, or mid, and it was pretty obviously we did right off of the POC. So here we go. Testing that high again. The overnight, the the IB high at 29. I'm just not that confident. These are counter rotations. Obviously, the market has been trading up all night until that number, and then it's resuming an upward trend. So any kind of a short is a counter rotation trend, and those are dangerous, in my opinion. So here we go. It looks like that was too high at about 30. Now that could have been nice short coming off here. Why, I don't know. But perhaps we had a change in context. NQ is this dark blue. That's the comparables, correlated market. Now we're bouncing between the POC of the full session, mid, VWAP, and POC. So there's not enough range for the mid or VWAP or mid trade to POC, which is a structured trade. We get here now headed for the lows. Will they take out that target? Wonder. I'm not sure if that's a migration or if I got it wrong in the first place. Let's check. I got it wrong in the first place. So now our target would be this low. Here's our IB pushing the lows of the session. Let's
Order submitted.
see if we get a
Order submitted.
trade here. Got to turn down that volume. That's really high. We will want to take a scale ahead of that number.
Order submitted.
I think. Wow, that was a terrible, terrible entry. Likely to take a stop on that one, unless we get some favorable selling here. And I think we got awfully close to that number, so that's likely the stat. And we'll see how we do. Like to take this off. NQ is continuing lower. See if we can get some help here. It doesn't look like it. Looks like that was a terrible entry. Basically a breakout, which is real disappointing. Even though I was targeting this we could be entering into a mean reversion scenario here where we're trading from lows to highs. That's the most common. Don't know what's going to happen here, but I'm not very warm and fuzzy about this entry. Basically, that was a very poor entry. We're at 44. We could have the IB 30 help us a little bit here if we can get through this next 15 minutes without a stop. Our goal here would be risk neutral, of course. So if this target is hit, which I'm going to move ahead
Order
of that,
submitted.
ahead of that liquidity. If that target that's our number one target. If that gets hit, then we would have a risk neutral trade. We would be in a risk neutral trade, which means the worst we could do at that point was scratch. Come on now, take her down, boys, girls, whoever, traders. I don't like these long, drawn out affairs here like this when we're just dilly-dallying around. That's generally not a good sign for me. I like a market to move the way I thought it was going to in the beginning. Otherwise, I frequently get stopped. Not seeing any buyers here. We got some sellers here. Nothing, no follow through. You'd think that we could get that next couple of ticks down there. I'm about ready to pull this off. Like to see that bomber hit in there. Hit that target, boys. Hit that 82 target. Liquidity keeps sneaking up, and that's irritating. I wish they would clean that off. There we go. Oh, look at that. Come on, bomber. Hit us. Hit it, girl. See that absorption here. So we have not a very good picture here. Come on. Can't get that one extra. There we go. Now we're risk neutral. You see our break even line here. We'll move this
Order
trade
submitted.
under break even. Yeah, that's no good. The break even isn't working. Yeah, that's not a good thing. I'm going to kill out of this. Got a problem with the software.
Order submitted.
Oh, didn't want to do that. Okay, we're at zero. Something's wrong with the break even. There's supposed to be a break even bar here and number, and it's not functioning. So that trade, I don't like to stay in a trade when I have no confidence in the software. If there's something that's not working properly, then that's a bad thing. So that's disappointing. But it is what it is. We could be entering a mean reversion scenario at this point where we've tested the lows to a target, and now we could trade back and forth around the uh, the reversion here. So it would be mean reversion from the lows up here to POC. You want to scale ahead of that and then look higher, but uh, haven't gotten the direction yet. So I'm going to wait until the IB90 possibility or IB30 possibility, see what we're looking at when we get to the 9 o'clock hour. So let's hope everybody's on the right screen. Audio's working properly. I don't know what else to do. There we go with some sell off. So our targets would have been, let's see if we get our previous target, which was there, our second target. Gotta stop saying "or." I hate that second person plural or whatever you call it. I'm not. Let's see if my target fits. At the moment, this is looking to me to be a down context leaning south. If this works, this is the open. Now we're south. NASDAQ is coming south. Okay. So FOMO country for breakout traders. And I'm not convinced enough of the direction to put capital at risk. But it's a heck of a nice short. Anybody that anyone who got on that up here for this test, which isn't any kind of a structured trade as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Now, if we could get that NQ looks to me like it's falling out of bed pretty hard there. So that's leading the way, obviously. At the moment, no long. Now we are back inside yesterday's value. If we get accepted in there, it's a likely possibility that we would trade across that to IURLO. 4503. But that's a pretty big if because we didn't gap up. That's actually a kind of a rebranding of the gap. Let's see what we do here now. Come back to POC, maybe. I don't know. This could be a too low area here, and we're mean reverting across that. Could just be a pullback, kind of rotation. Time to reload, and down they go some more. Don't know. I'm not sure what I will do other than stand here and watch until that 9 o'clock hour. See where we go. I would guess without big stretch that we're going to make newer lows. We've made that one. Now we'll see what happens with the next one for the IB30. The IB high is, I don't know what that noise is, but it's kind of irritating. IB high is way up here at 30, right? So chances of getting down for a new low would more likely, in my opinion. However, there's only a 50% chance in a opening in range that we take out the ETH low statistically. So we'll see. We will see. At the moment, the market's kind of hard to believe, but it's pretty well balanced. A little bit skewed to the upside. I mean, downside, sorry. These gold lines represent what a balanced market would look like. You'll see that the low is right on that. We have a little bit dead space above, so we have basically skew to the south based on POC. My inclination is to go long, but it should have been here, except there was no real trigger. It was just a one shot down and away you go, and only 46 stops out. So that's not a whole bunch, considering the market, overnight market was trading pretty much above this point, this being the overnight low. Overnight mid is way up above us. So you got to know there's a whole bunch of stops living down here. If they get into those, it could take us for quite a ride. See what this does now. We're going to mean revert back up to POC. I don't know. Back into our developing value area. And this is above the overnight POC. So problem here is generally retail will sell the mid or VWAP. So you could expect a bounce back. And you've only, if you enter here, you've only got 2 points range, which is not particularly enough, in my opinion, for me. I don't react that fast, and my entries are never that precise. I guess I hesitate. He who hesitates is lost, right? So we're at a low volume node here in today's session, and on the chart, not going to be having any high volume nodes indicated here, and I will explain why. The way I push those to my book map is from the microcomposite profile. And you see these green levels here are the high value nodes that are being pushed. Yesterday's trade was up here. Today's trade is up here. So I haven't set a new volume profile yet where I will activate these high volume, low volume nodes. That's why there's nothing showing up over here. so far. There we are at the mid and the VWAP. Now, the typical trade would be mid VWAP POC. And you do have 3 points to that. So that's a possibility. We could try along there. Usually some selling at that mid. Retail guys like to bounce them. And 23.5 to 26. That's only 3 points. That's a close. That's a close trade. And we are at a microstructure here. Ooh, VPOC migration lower. That took care of that. That took off that trade for me. Now, often what will happen is we'll come up here and price check and then go lower. Typically, this would indicate a move lower. But I'm a little gun shy. Where would we be going? South, I guess. The idea of that trade is that this is retail, or the POC is the point of control where the most amount of volume has been traded so far in the session. So if that migrates down, it says to me that the trade and volume and price is being accepted lower. So typically that will skew the market south. Vice versa for migration up. What often happens to me, though, if I take these too quickly, is price will come up and do a price check here to see if that old price is still too high. This doesn't look like that's going to happen. And now it's bordering on breakout, which I don't want to trade. Tough trade for me today. Tough trade. And now we're reaching the bottom of our rotation for both the low volume node here, the high volume pump there, 43, 59. They could easily bring it down here with just a little more trade. Now there's a test, right? There's a test of that VPOC from below.
Order submitted.
Let's try this and see what we get. That looks quite not very good. Oh, well, we'll see what happens. Test from below on the VWAP to epoch migration. I'm sorry. And that's not what I want to see. I would suggest that the scale needs to be up in here, above this liquidity and above this position.
Order submitted.
Put that right there, but it looks like we're going to stop before that happens. Unfortunately. Oh, disappointing. Within a tick there. Let's see if these guys can get their act together and take it south where it belongs. Extremely poor entry again, you see. The test of the VPOC was here from below, but I'm entered clear down here on this one. So that's, yeah, I don't know. And now we're getting some migration around. If we can take it down one more time, see what happens. This is an extremely bad place to be in because it'll go either side of the VPOC, up or down. That's the middle, right? That's the most highly traded area. I was hoping that they would. We're at 8,500, so they've got to make up some tall cotton down here now. We get down around a break-even price. I'll be looking at minimizing my risk here. Okay, boys and girls, what we got going on here? What's our VPOC? NQ is not helping us much. Oh well. Just can't seem to get that traction south for some reason. Now, all morning it was having no problem doing that. We're right on the previous RTH high. I'm not going to move those stops. There we are, stopped out. Disappointing, but is what it is. Trading, the magic of trading. Uh, yeah, magic of trading. Now it could continue north. Who the heck knows? And we were in a position for the IB 30, which didn't happen to the downside. And of course, now it'll run right down there. Always a case. We might be able to pick up a little bit of the trade here would have been the mid higher, I guess. I'm thinking we should be able to go for that IB high, but you never know. IB 30 again. I don't know what's going to happen now. It can go either way. That's the whole point. And that's not really a position or location, I don't think. So a touch of the VWAP, but that's just not warm and fuzzy for me. That's what there is exactly why. Hmm. I think they still want to go south, but I'm not sure how to get on that. I'd like to pick up my couple $100 here and then pick up my couple $100 and get back to even here. Price checking that. I don't like the looks of that.
Order submitted. Order submitted. Order submitted.
I don't know what's going on here. Got a lot of order submissions going on here. Not sure why, but I'd like to see that I be high and maybe not. I could just be on the wrong side of the rotation, which is what I'm thinking. That's what it looks like. Extremely poor entries on my part. Extremely poor entries. I was looking for the IB 30 to the high side, and that's not happening either. So I guess I'm not in sync with the market today. To get back close to our break even point, I'll take it off. And the whole thing about this is statistics. If you have vetted trades and you get an edge, then you keep taking the trades to realize your edge, just like a casino. They have an edge figured out in 21 and they never change the game. They just keep dealing the same cards. Play the game exactly the same way. That's the only way to manifest the edge. This is pretty random what I've done this morning. Looking at the IB high here, there's no real trigger for it. And if the bomber or somebody steps in here now, I'll be taken out immediately, which would be pretty disappointing, but that's how it seems to go. Unlike the casino, which just has the edge and keeps playing the game. Vetting the trades are a hard part for me because in order to have a statistically significant data set, there can be no variables. So moving to stop, moving to target, all of that stuff doesn't help out, right? Now, in reality, I should have a scale ahead of this liquidity here. And we'll see if that liquidity lifts off or what happens here. Yeah, the liquidity is lifting, so that's a good thing. We might get up here for our scale.
Order submitted.
And I think I will bring the stops up to break even plus to mitigate any possibility of a
Order submitted. Order submitted.
happened here. I'm still in one, and what's the story? That's kind of a scale and kind of a break-even trade, but that didn't work worth a damn.
Order submitted.
I'll now push this up above the
Order
break-even,
submitted.
about the IB high, and try to see whether we can pick up some of that. Keep trailing tight to get our break-even.
Order submitted.
Get up to that liquidity and target that IB high, kids. There we go. A lot of damn work just to break even. But the magic of trading. So I'm looking for the IB30 high, or the IB30, I'm sorry, where the one side of the IB is increased or decreased, depending on high or low. Short. That liquidity sitting there has got a lid on it. Let's see if they can pull that off. And get up here a little bit. Like we'll make a new. That's a hell of a lot of trading for $37. And I was 100.5 or whatever up before that trade. So now we've covered a full stop. The break even's not working, which is more than disappointing. Or it's working like $1 million till I upgraded. And now what are we gonna do? We'll take a picture of this for the record. That was a bad picture though. Didn't show the entry. There we go. That one off. That one for the posting. And pretty stupid. Pretty stupid. Anyway, the IB30 worked just fine. are those entries right there. Okay. So that was anticlimactic and certainly not good use of trading time. I assume, I hope I'm on the right screen. Appears to be. And so now we are back at, I'm going to just pull up the OBS and make sure. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Looks like it's right. And we're back. We've tested the IB low. We've popped the IB 30 with that little squiggle right there. You can see that little bit of an increase. And now we can sit and wait for the IB, the other trades. Basically, this is absolutely rotational in a pretty tight range. 16 to 30, about 15 points, right? Not much of a trade. This is just a poor entry over here. No, my scale would have been taken here, and my target was taken there. But I pulled up the stop when I was noticing funny behavior with the software. I don't like that at all. When I don't have confidence in the trading platform, it worries me, and unjustifiably so, I would. And here was my attempt at the IB 30. Anyway, so here we go. We're back on the markets here. I'm going to be closing off the stream at about 09:55. I have a other commitment at the top of the hour. So pretty lackluster day. Any day, any green is green, and considering it was at one point, that takes into consideration a full stop. So uh, sucks. Got it. Next. Just realized my mic has been muted, so that's magical. I don't know how long that's been going for. Looks like they got the IB high. A couple of colleagues from the T Lab got long here 31 half on the pullback scaled, and so now they're fat and happy. It could well target that ETH high. I'll be interested to see how long the mic was on mute. Got to get this figured out. So busy concentrating on. I'm not a streamer or one of those YouTube guys. So this is the intent of this is my video journal and to be able to replay my trades and hear my thinking. So the audio is kind of important. Pretty disappointing that I had muted it to step aside, and who knows how long it's been off. Got to figure that out. I guess just not worry about the background noise and leave it on so I don't forget to. It's a mute on a little button by my headset, and it's not audio or visual, and I don't have enough. I don't have the OBS up in the screen to see if my voice is. I've been able to tell that, but anyway. All right. I'm going to wind the stream down now and get ready for the top of the hour presentation. And there's the IB high. Interesting to watch and see if they get this overnight high, which I'm sure they most likely will. That's a very high percentage. In this case, in the opening of higher in range, it's 73.5% that they'll get the overnight high. The stat is also like the IB in the 90s somewhere for either the overnight high or overnight low will be taken out in the RTH session. So have a great day. I hope everybody trades better than I do, or did, I should say. And I'll pick up the market. I keep the market going always I have a few screens here, but I have to stop the stream. So that's it for the day.